Good morning from Ogbourne Downs, Friday the 4th of April, into April now, so another weekly update for you. Course set up this morning, we've done bunker raking at 5 a.m, flat rake the bunkers whilst they're nice and dry, excuse me, out with the hand mowers, and then we've also put a hand water out on the greens as well to add a bit of moisture to those. I'll come to that shortly, a bit more of an update on that. We've done something to the greens every day this week, so we've either cut or rolled. So we hand cut this morning, hand cut Monday morning, in between that, because the fertilisers kicked in and getting a little bit of growth off the greens, we cut with the triple on Wednesday just to get a cut across them, and then just left the perimeters when we're out with a triple, just to, whilst we've got the hand mowers out, they can put the perimeters in and be a bit softer on those perimeters rather than the tyres turning. There's no real need to put a perimeter in with those triples. And then we rolled them in between, so rolled Tuesday, rolled Thursday, and the plan is to roll tomorrow as well. We've also been out cutting tees. I'll come to that more in a little bit, but we've reduced the height down to 7 mil, so we've given those a couple of cuts this week in the hammer two, the hammer tees too, so one and the new tees as well. So very much starting. Greg, our consultant, put a video out this week just with an update of April is transition month. We're not there yet, we're not summer yet. It is transition month as we transition out of winter into the summer. So it takes a wee while. It's a bit like the sea warming up in terms of the soil temperatures. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to warm the soil temperatures up. It takes a long time to slow them down, which is why you still see a lot of growth in October and November. As you go into those winter months, you get a bit of moisture from the rain, and the soil temperatures are still nice and high. Whereas this time of year, whilst it's nice, I think it's supposed to get up to 20 degrees today. It's not that sort of anywhere near that temperature in the soil. So it takes a good month, 6 weeks to really build those soil temperatures up before we really start kicking in with some growth. But it is starting. The fertilizer is definitely kicking in on the greens and tees. So yeah, definitely a little bit more mowing frequency. I also put a wetting agent and soluble iron application out with a seaweed and a bit of ammonia, so a little bit extra fertilizer in there, just for a sort of colour up and get some nutrient and retain some of the moisture of the wetting agent into a liquid feed on the greens. That was early part of this week, Monday I believe that was. So so we also got that out this week, just as I said, putting quite a bit of water up at the moment in this dry period, so we want to hold and retain that moisture with a wetting agent, and then put a relatively high rate of iron out just to have a nice colour up to the greens, darken the leaf off. It improves photosynthesis and all that sort of thing. So it helps with the colour and the vigour of the greens. Video updates, they will become summertime does become a little bit, I wouldn't say Groundhog Day, but it does become Groundhog Week, where it's sort of quite a repetitive week of cutting frequencies and things like that. Whereas in the winter, these updates can be really good and beneficial. It's like a construction site. You see it on Monday, and you take a photo of it Monday. You take a photo of it Friday. When you finish, you can see a lot of progress. Whereas, as I said, maintenance in the summer is almost on repeat. So it's like Groundhog Week. So I'll try and come up with a couple of things to make the videos interesting, let you know, give more in depth as to what we do on a daily basis, maybe some videos of changing holes and things like that, to just try and keep it interesting. But yeah, it certainly won't be sort of as much projects updates and things like that, but I'll go on to the things the other things that we've done this week next. So a list of jobs we've continued on with from last week is continuing to monitor and clear up the moles as we try to trap those before we go into spring, the ones that are certainly coming into the prominent areas. We've mowed the pathways again and applied a organic fertiliser to those, so to boost those up for the spring and summer ahead as they start to be used quite a bit. So we get those cut once a week or so, just to really nip those down, smarten them up and tidy them up and create a bit of definition. We've completed the spraying weeds with the knapsack. We just had a few green surrounds to finish off this week, so and maybe half a fairway or something. So yeah, we just finished that off. And then we've also commenced bringing in all the post and rope that we put out for wear and tear over the winter. So we've made a start on bringing all of those in. We went to April this week, so that's sort of returned to yellow tee markers. So brought the blues in, put the yellows out, and all our summer tee markers go out, which they have our sort of club colours painted on them, so a bit smarter, a bit more attention to detail on those ones, and yeah, they're out ready for the summer ahead. With white markers, we're still just continuing to rest up some of the back tees that are a bit smaller as we go into the season, and just trying to get a bit of water on those as well to help recover and repair from any winter damage. And as I said, yeah, we've talked about those. I think we talked about those last week or two. So for general play, they're still out of a measured course, but we've got a couple of medals and competitions coming up. When we have competitions, we will put those back into the measured course for those competitions. So as we lie, we'll have no white markers for general play handicap cards, but we will put them back in a measured course ready for competitions. So we spent a good amount of time in the workshop this week getting units prepared for the spring ahead. We've ground our tees and aprons units, so they've been through we've had a spin in the grinders to really sharpen those up. You can see there's two machines here. One sharpens the bottom blade, one sharpens the cylinder. So we've used that, and then we've got across all the other cutting units, so fairways, greens, mowers, and things like that. They've all been checked. The quality of cut and the height of cut is checked on all of those. That's something we do regularly. We do pretty much once a week, just to make sure that everything is on cut. Just to otherwise, the grass starts getting ripped out rather than cut properly, and you don't get a nice even cut across all three units and all that sort of thing. So we cut our tees at 8mm on Tuesday, and then with boxes off just for the fertiliser, applied water through the irrigation system Wednesday night, and then cut boxes on with our new height of 7mm after they're ground, so they get a nice sharp even cut after a nice grind, and then we've nipped those down to the 7mm. So as we start transitioning from April to into the more summer months, we'll start getting the heights we like in our certain areas. So they're down from their winter height of 8mm down to the 7mm. We'll push those in the summer to 6mm, but for the spring we'll put them to 7mm, which is a nice it's a nice height for this time of year. So I'm going to do a feature on watering and the need to do so using our automated irrigation system based on the weather. We use a weather website which we pay for, which is specific to our golf club and is quite industry specific in a way. So it's tailored at golf courses to give you as much information as possible. So it will give a 7-day overview of what the weather is going to be, the highs, lows, winds, and then it will have. But the feature that we really like is precipitation and evapotranspiration rates. So as you can see from these charts, the chart which has total precipitation, so that's the millimeters of rain that the weather forecast anticipates you're going to get. The column next to that is ET, evapotranspiration. So that's how much water you're losing through as evaporation and transpiration. So transpiration is water percolating through the soil profile and going down, and evaporation is from the top crust of where it's warm, and it's obviously evaporated out. So from this you can see that we're losing almost 4mm of water per day, so we need to replenish that and replace that. So that's a total of 24 millimeters in a week. So there's many ways. There are different ways in which you can do this. You can put a little bit out per night, or you can do something called a deep and infrequent soak cycle. So you put a lot on, leave it a couple of days, and then put a lot on and then leave it a couple of days. So that's very much my method and my theory of what I try to do. So we will put sort of 6 millimeters on per night, and then leave that until we need to go again. But I very much use this model of we need to do 24 millimeters in a week. So that says to me that we need to do 4 applications of that in a week to replace the water that we're losing. And this is done by calibrating your irrigation system, so you can convert the minutes into millimeters. So irrigation has always been done on time, so you just old money is to put the heads up for a certain number of minutes. So over the years, and as technology has advanced, we've started calibrating that, so we can, because we work off millimeters of rainfall, so we can convert how many minutes those are to millimeters, so we can be accurate with how much water we're putting on. So that can be done using catch can tests or that sort of thing, so we can run the irrigation for a certain number of minutes, and then we can have catch cans in the center of the greens, and we can measure how much water that's putting on to go out and physically test our system, which is something we have done on certain greens. And then once you've done a certain number of greens, then you've got a formula that you can use going for all the greens. We know that a sprinkler set up at 180 degrees will put out 2 millimeters of water if it does 4 passes, just to throw a few figures out there. For example, you could take that going forward, and or if a sprinkler is running for 4 minutes, then that will put up 2 millimeters, for example. So that's how we become accurate, by calibrating those sprinklers and how much water as I said, converting time into millimeters. We'll then back that up with some hand watering, so that means that we can target certain areas which dry out more than others. So that helps support those areas. So put a bit of time into hand watering. So and that backs up any areas which aren't getting enough water or dry out quicker. And that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Looking ahead to next week, there'll be no video at the end of next week. I'm off on annual leave next week for a holiday. It was booked quite a while ago. So we leave the golf course in good hands of Mark, number 2, and the team. And then I've sort of got a big list of attention to detail jobs to start getting ready for the clutch tour the week after. So that'll be the main focus of next week, just those attention to detail jobs, and start neatening up and tidying up some areas, and very much focusing on making sure the moisture and the performance is right in the greens.